Well, hello, and welcome to this very empty world. And we're going to use this to sort of run our tutorial on the moss farm that we made. Yeah, that we made on the hardcore world last episode, and give a look to the flower farm, because there's a couple tricks that we used. So let's jump into the moss farm. So the first thing that we are going to make is our water source. Then on that square, we're going to place some stairs, which are going to be important for the lava not getting together with this water that we are placing. The next bit is going to rely on these pistons right here, and these pistons over here. These are going to be the feed tape that is going to push the stone that we are going to be making. So to detect that stone, we're going to use this observer over here. And this observer is going to be connected with all of these. And it's going to be connected to all of these pistons as well, thanks to these repeaters and this redstone line. Very important to include at least, well, one repeater, because we need to make sure that there's a slight delay on the piston above. And the other important thing is to pass the signal through this block. This is going to be very important for the cooldown system in the pushing. So let's give this a try. And as you can see, it does push stuff, but going way too fast. And if we remove that very important block, then the system just stops. So what we are going to do is to include this cooldown system. So we place our repeater, then redstone torch, and another redstone torch, and we use an observer. And that observer triggers this sticky piston. And it is sort of important. It's something that we left, in our, well, when we were making it in our hardcore world, and it led to a ton of problems. Because if it's not an observer, then it's not just one tick and this block won't be spat out. So let's give this a try by placing just this one block over here. And if we play around with, if we put this repeater at 2 ticks, then there's going to be that cooldown. Place it at 3 ticks. The effect is going to be sort of the same. At 4 ticks, I think it's going to, not that bad. Yeah, we're going to keep it at 2 ticks, but this shows that when that observer picks up something, then that something is going to be pushed up and across. So we are using this orange color. First of all, because I just like orange, but also to show the danger that is going to come with these lava blocks that we are going to put over here. So if everything goes according to plan, we do have our stone coming in. And for some reason, now we get the one through the middle. So that cooldown system lets us, well, have all of the redstone behind the moss farm instead of having it in front. So the next thing that we need is to make that line of hoppers, which is going to be the one that we use for our collection system. We need it to be 6 blocks away, because we're going to have this first block that is going to be for our collection, well, the water that we're going to need, and we need the other 5 because it's the most, it's the radius of bone meal affecting moss. So this is going to be our center, and this is going to be where our water is. So for our water, we need the trapdoors in this direction. And, well, we need water. The other important thing that we needed, and this we did mention in the episode, is that furnace. That furnace is going to protect the moss. That is going to be our source of, well, more moss. Right. So, right now, we do have the whole system almost ready. We do have the stone coming in. We do have all of the redstone for the stone right behind the stone generator. And now we just need the system for the collection and the spreading of moss. So the spreading of moss is going to be a rather simple one. We just need to detect changes in that stone block. For that, we're going to get these observers facing upwards. Then we're going to have this one facing sideways, another one facing upwards, and our dispenser. And very important, the dispenser facing upwards as well. And that actually does the moss, the moss generation bit. If we put bone meal in there, then that bone meal is going to target this moss block in here. It spreads the moss, and we need to time perfectly this water to push everything across, but it needs to let the moss grow. So for that, we have the other complicated bit, which is this section over here. So for activating our collection bit, we're going to have this platform over here with a rather simple pulse extender. So this all around. And one repeater over here, and this redstone torch. And this last bit, well, that redstone torch is a very important bit, because basically it's going to keep the water in unless the whole system activates. So this should be almost ready. Let me actually skip the night, and this should be the whole system. So stone is generating over there. So that stone generation activates the observer, which passes the signal through this block over here, which activates first, without any delay, this line at the bottom, and then this line with this delay over here. So that one tick delay from that repeater. At the same time, that very same signal is removing this block, which means that even if the observers see something, they're not going to be able to trigger the whole piston system. So sending the signal above, the observer sees this redstone torch turning on, gives a one tick pulse to this, which drags in the block, and then when it turns off, then it just spits it out. From that very same signal, then that signal goes through this pulse extender that we have in here. That pulse deactivates this redstone torch, which sends all the moss, well, all the water across. And after this explanation, it would be pretty embarrassing if it doesn't actually work. So let's give it a try. So bone meal in. We're going to first, give it this little bit of moss. That is that Kickstarter bit that we have in our world. Now this blackstone button, which activates the whole system. So, actually, one of the things that we can do, let's give it a little bit of extra time. But can see that this is definitely working, and one of the bits that we mentioned in the episode, this generates mostly moss blocks, and it is because if that block over there doesn't change, as it changed now from moss to stone, it's not going to trigger the it's not going to trigger the dispenser, which means that we are not generating moss. So that is the system. We are going to talk a little bit about the activation bits that we did. And yep, we can actually call this as well, this sort of tutorial. Yep, call it a wrap. So we are going to be putting the on-off switch over here. Well, we're going to make two different circuits, but yeah, we're going to have it sort of in the same place as we do have in our hardcore world. So the first thing is the on and off switch. So the easy way of turning this on and off is basically just keeping all the pistons on, which means that the water is going to stay over there and nothing, no stone is going to be generated. When you flick this lever, it all goes back to normal. But levers are no fun, and if I've learned anything from watching Mumbo Jumbo videos, is that if you can, you use a T flip-flop. So we have our button ready, and we are going to have this over here. So this is going to need to be one block lower. So, sticky piston, then this is up, facing downwards, then another sticky piston over here, our redstone block, and over here we do have the power source. So, if you click the button, then when you click the button, then the observer is going to move, telling the sticky piston to, with a one tick pulse, to spit out that redstone block, which is going to activate the whole system. And if you press it again, the other way around, and you keep the never-ending cycle going. The other thing that we did was the kickstart button. So the whole point of the kickstart system, just in case, there's any, it doesn't get synchronized, the falling of the lava and the formation of the stone, then you just give it a small push. Very important. That's something that I've misplaced a couple times, is this repeater over here, because if it's a redstone line, then it's going to be activated by that torch, by this repeater, and this block over here. So this is our, our moss farm. And I hope it was clearer than what we did in the hardcore world. Actually, one of the tests that we didn't do on our world is the output. So I've put everything that came from the moss farm using one stack of bone meal, and we got almost a stack and a half. So this farm should be self-sufficient if we are able to split the output into two different channels. So we would recover most of the bone meal that we put in there and get some of the goodies. And we also ran another test with, instead of putting everything through a composter, we just got all the goodies in this chest. So from, again, a stack of bone meal, we got all of this moss, a ton of moss carpet, almost a stack of azalea, and almost half a stack of flowering azalea, and these wheat seeds that I still don't know. I understand why they are here. I'm just very annoyed that they come with this farm. So for our flower farm, what we are going to start, it's based off our concept, which is the shaker. But, you'll see why I just say the shaker, because you can technically use this very same thing, but with, for example, all the nether bits, all the nether mushrooms, or if you're interested that nether grass. So we're going to start with this platform and these two lines of pistons, then redstone dust over here, redstone dust over here. Then, as we did over there, just one dispenser in here. And same system. So, observer, 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 then observer, and another observer. But the trick with this one is that we are also going to run this line over here. So what we are going to do is to get this, to get that observer and to pick up a signal in this way. And we are also going to pick up a signal this way. So with this, then every single time that the ground moves, there's going to be a signal just pushing those pistons. But at this point, they would do it at the same time. So the trick is just this repeater, which is going to just activate and is going to give that 1 tick delay. So if we just put this over here, and if we fill up our dispenser with bone meal and let's get a sticky piston over here. With this lever, we can pick up our observer, which is going to turn off the system, or put it back in, which has already failed. Yep, so by putting that to 2 ticks, then we got the delay that we want. We generate all of the flowers, and if we remove the observer, then we get back, we turn this off. So, as you can see, pretty simple one to make. This one doesn't have a collection system like the one that we made over there, but well, it's just for all the dye. I don't think that we are going to need that much. So, these are the 2 farms that we made in the last episode. And as you can see, well, the one with the moss, it's a little bit tricky, but then the one with the one for the flowers, it's one of the easiest farms that you can make. You get that shaky bit, you get that shaky bit that we mentioned, and it produces a ton of flowers, and then again, a ton of wheat seeds that we are going to need to compost. But with this, we are going to call it a day, and I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you on the next episode. See ya!